All right, I updated this problem in 2022. So here is the corrected 9 through 11 or 9 through 12. So here we go. On this first problem, okay, so we counted these numbers here that were in each of the bars. So that was how many times those pieces of data. So that made a total of 403 pieces of data. So then we want to figure out, okay, of this section, where is the median located? So it's important to pay attention to the fact that the median is the middle percent of data, the 50th percent of data. So that 403 can get split into two pieces, which would put 201 on the bottom and 201 on the top, with data piece number 202 smack dab in the middle. So, what that then does is you then say, okay, well, how do I find where piece number 202 is? So, you can then add this up 36 plus 54 and plus 69 and see where you are and what that brings you up to. So, that brings us up to 159 pieces of data. Well, if I add 82, that takes me up to 241 pieces of data. So that means that 202nd piece of data is somewhere in here. 159 plus a little bit more, probably up higher. But anyway, so up here before you get to the 240 whatever piece of data. So that's how I know that my median is in that bar from 25 up to 30, not 30 yet. So then this is a little tricky, when you deal with partials, but I think really a key is understanding that Q1 is the 25th percentile. And so it makes more sense. Was thinking of it in a much more difficult way, but I think overall, College Board wants you to know that the quartile one is at that 25th piece of data. So if you just multiplied 0.25 times 403, then that will land you at 100.75. So there you can find where that 101st piece of data is in order. So I know that if I add 36 plus 54, then that's going to take me to um, 36 plus 54 plus 69. So 36 plus 54 is 90 pieces of data. So I haven't passed it yet. If I added the next bar of 69, then that takes me to 159. So this going all the way up here to the top of the 69 bar, that gives me 159 pieces of data. So that tells me that my 101st piece of data is somewhere in here because I've got 90 plus 11 more. And so there I have Q1. That puts it at 20 to 25. And then we can do the same process for the Q3, knowing that Q3 has got to be the 75th percentile. So 0.75 times 403 is 302. So I had done a different way of thinking of it, and that came up with that same amount of the 302nd piece of data. So I can just add all of these up until I find where that 302nd piece of data is located, and that then was so see. Oh, see here I went down from the top, but you could add all of those up and you would see that that piece of data is from 35 up to 40. So then that meant this here is in this spot here. I'm not sure. I think this took you to 107. I don't know exactly, but I can tell that it's going to be in that bar right there. All right, so that's kind of the process that I went through to figure out where those locations are. I actually had done it a different way, but I had a student say to me today, "Hey, can I just do it this way?" And I thought, "Oh my gosh, that makes so much more sense." Now, I did some math and I did some trials and to figure out some things, and I couldn't tell exact. So here I had done all these different trials to see if that's working every time. And how do I know? Do I round up? Do I round down? Which piece of data is it? And honestly, I don't think College Board is going to get caught up in if it's the 101st or the 102nd piece of data. They're going to make both of those fall in the same bar. They would appreciate that that Q1 is at the 25th percentile. So if I do 25% of 403, then I can tell where that piece of data is, that it's about the 101st, 100th, 101st, somewhere in there. Okay. And so I'm going to find then where that piece of data is located. So I think that that is going to serve you better and stress those percentiles to you in a better way than the process that I was using of actually counting and halving things and all that kind of stuff. So, if you wanted to do this number 10, then taking a look at it, then that would take care of this same thing. We had 47, what, 40, how many pieces of data did we have total? 189. So if I was to figure out 25% of 189, then that would tell me what piece of data is in that 25th percentile. So let's just do that one real quick. 0.25 times 189 and see 47.25. So see there, that's putting you in between that 47th and 48th piece of data. All right. Of course, then for Q3 again, we would do that 75th percentile and put that here. Okay, so there's your general idea. And you can check those answers on that number 10. But this is a little different format. Here you have a frequency chart instead of a histogram. So I thought, okay, I'm going to see what it's like I'm going to accumulate this information. So I know by the time I had this interval, I have one piece of data so far. There was nothing in this bar here. So there was no additional data. So see, at this point, I don't have any additional data from 11 to 20. Then I had one more piece of data from 21 to 30, five pieces of data from 31 to 40, and five pieces of data from 41 to 50, and then two pieces of data, and then three pieces of data. So this is what this number 11 looks like. And you've got 1, 1, 5. So you can envision what it looks like. And there was 2 and there was 3. So then you have a histogram if you prefer to look at it like this. But anyway, otherwise, here I've got the median would be that ninth piece of data. So where is that ninth piece of data? It's here. This one goes up to 7. So I've got to go into this 41 to 50 to find that ninth piece of data. See, this bar here takes you to 7. I've got to go into here to find that ninth piece of data. And so then let's do that 25th percentile. So see, 25% of 17 is at data piece 4.25. So where does that put us? Well, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 3, 4, there is then where that 25th percentile is. So I can see that that's got to be in this bar right here from 31 to 40. And then if we did the 75th percentile, of 17, then that's at 12.75. So let's see where that takes me. This bar takes me to 12. So to be a little further in, it's got to be in that bar there from 51 to 60. So that's then where we have our Q3 falling. Okay. So, which is interesting because here I had the average of 13th and 15th. See, so there's something, little details there that are kind of throwing me off, but I feel confident that College Board wants you to know that Q1 is at that 25th percentile piece of data. Q or median is at that 50th percentile of data, and Q3 is at that 75th percentile of data. And you will then be able to find your locations based on that knowledge. Okay, so that's what I changed in 2022 with regards to these histograms, frequency charts, and finding the 5 number summary from those pieces of data. All right, so I hope that helped you out.